What up, peeps? Welcome to a pickup video. This one is going to be special because this contains all the stuff that I picked up from the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. On the Double Jump channel, of course, we made videos of the expo, so you saw me physically getting some of these items, but in that video, we didn't really go through everything. So this is the first time that I'm actually showing all the stuff that I actually picked up. There are a few things that I got outside of the expo as well. Some stuff that, new Switch games that have come out. Some stuff that I've gotten through the store. Just some other random stuff. So, and some stuff I got from a package, which we'll talk about. But most of this stuff came from the expo. So, make sure you grab a drink, grab a snack. This is going to be probably a little bit longer than the most recent pickup video that went up before PRGE. So I'm going to start, as always, with the stuff that is not actual video games. So first up, we have this little Nintendo 3DS display cube. This came from the Expo. Abby picked this up from one of the vendors. I think it was like 25 bucks. Pretty cool. She also picked up another display box, and that is for Pokemon Y, which is pretty cool. Just a big promo item here. This one I think she said was $29. Weird price point. Don't know why it wasn't just $30, but either way, that is pretty awesome. I did pick up a console box. There's no console in it, which is fine. It's very easy to replace, but it is the box and the styrofoam. And this is another Super Nintendo bundle that I did not have. And it is this one. And this is the Home Run bundle, which includes Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball. So, pretty easy game to find on its own, so I'll have no problem, completing this box. But as of right now, it is just the box and the styrofoam. But that's a pretty rare one to find. Out of all the game stores we've been to over the past couple years and all the conventions we've been to, I have not seen that one before. So, really happy to get that. Another cool item that we picked up is this little door hanging tag. It says, "Sorry, Nintendo game in progress," with Mario on one side, and the other side says, "Intruders beware, this room property of Nintendo expert," with Link. And it is dated 1989, Nintendo of America, Inc. That is pretty cool. It's in pretty good condition. It does have, some creasing around here, but what can you expect from an old, door tag hanger thing that most likely belonged to a kid in the late 80s and early 90s. Pretty awesome. I got that from the same person that I got the Super Nintendo console box from. The last really big item Abby also picked up, and this is the McDonald's display for the Super Mario Brothers toys. This is really, really cool. The back even has some awesome artwork on there. And does it have a date? 1990. This is for Mario Brothers 3. They're all in there. It looks like Luigi maybe fell off at some point, and then they used some expanding foam to hold him on there, so it looks a little ugly right there. But overall, this thing is pretty awesome. If you don't hold the bottom, it kind of or the sides, they open up. So, it's not it's not perfectly held together. It's, it's supposed to have a big display thing around it to kind of hold it in place, but this is really, really cool. This is something that I've seen in people's collections before, and I always thought it'd be really awesome to have in our collection one day, but it was never something that I was actually looking out for. I didn't even see it at the expo when I was walking around. Didn't even know that it was there till Abby walked back to the booth holding it, and she's like, "I got this." So, pretty awesome. The last thing that is kind of just a promo thing, it's not really a game, is the Super Bomberman 2 pin. It's really small, so it's kind of hard to get the camera to want to focus on it and stuff, but there you can see. Looks like it might be a little bit yellowed from, just due to age, but really, really cool. I have a pretty big collection of video game related pins and buttons. So I just have it in a box right now. I don't have room to actually display them. In the future, I do plan on getting some sort of corkboard thing where I can set them all. I used to have one in the old game room, but I had too many pins to fit on there, and there's no wall space in here now. So for the future, but that is super cool, and that is a Super Nintendo game as well, so kind of fits with what I'm doing right now. I do have two controllers to show you guys, both pretty rare. The first one I picked up from the Expo, and that is the Nintendo Power 100 controller. So it's got this little, I don't even know what you would call it. It's like a little emblem. I think it's like a sticker, but it's like an embossed sticker. It's got some texture to it, and it says Nintendo Power 100. And there is like a little gouge here in the plastic. The handles are a little bit worn. Kind of hard to see on camera with the gold color, but they are a little bit worn. So this controller was available to order through Nintendo Power issue number 100. You did have to buy it. It wasn't like a free giveaway thing, so it's not like it's incredibly rare. You know, they sold a decent number of them, but they are pretty hard to find now. And there was two of them at the Expo. So there was this one, which was, I think I paid 225 bucks for this, which I haven't looked them up in a long time. I'm assuming that's kind of a fair price. The other one though, I believe was 250, so it's $25 more, but the little emblem here was like cracked and like really beat up. And I see that on a lot of them when I do see them, and that's been the reason that I haven't purchased one, because every time I see them, that's all ugly and messed up. So this one, like I said, does have this little gouge here and some wear on the handles, but what I'm more concerned about is the actual Nintendo Power 100 label there, because that is kind of what makes it the special controller, right? So very happy with that pickup. The other controller I also got from the convention, but I won it in the auction. This is the only item that I actually won in the auction. I think I bid on one other thing and didn't win, but this is the Hyundai Comboy Nintendo 64 controller from South Korea. And as you can see, it's got some text printed on here. It's not a sticker. And this is the gray version of the controller. There are other colors. So from my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe that at least when that was coming out, Super Nintendo and 64 era, I believe that South Korea kind of had the same kind of laws that China did, where they wouldn't really accept a lot of like imported electronics and stuff from companies that were not Korean. China did the same thing. That's why you get the IQ. There's like the IQ Game Boys. There's the IQ N64. Nintendo had to basically partner with a Chinese company to get those made and released in China. I'm pretty sure it was the same kind of thing with South Korea for that. And so they partnered with Hyundai, or Hyundai, however you say it. And, you know, yeah, the car people. Pretty interesting. And from what I could research online, it sounds like it was estimated that they produced about 1,000 controllers, and who knows how many are left at this point. I believe in the PRGE video, I mentioned something about there only being 2 red ones posted on eBay for over $2,500 each. That wasn't incorrect, but when I was actually able to get to a computer and do a search, I was able to pull up more listings where there's the Hyundai consoles with the gray controller for much less. They're still like over $1,000. So I won that controller for 250 bucks. I think that's a pretty good price, and I'm happy with it. That's one that I probably would never get in my collection otherwise. So that's pretty cool. I like it. I do have a few consoles to show you guys, but they are all handhelds, and they're all pretty awesome. So I'm gonna try to go in order of what I would consider the cool factor. So the first one, kind of basic. We're going with the new 3DS XL. This is a lime green limited edition, and it comes with the Super Mario World pre-installed, which is pretty awesome. As you guys know, Abby really loves collecting all of the different 3DS boxes, well, just handhelds in general. So she picked up that one. The next one she also grabbed, but we're going back to the Game Boy Pocket, and it's a Japanese one, and that is the yellow one. I wasn't actually planning on collecting the Japanese versions of the consoles unless they were a special edition that we didn't get here, but she bought this one. She kind of started rolling the ball with those, so I'm sure in the future you'll see more of these, because we do get them every now and then. We import stuff from Japan, we buy Game Boys for the store, and every now and then, for whatever reason, they ship them to us with the original boxes, even though we were not expecting that. So every now and then we'll get complete in box ones, and if it's a color that we don't have, maybe in the future we'll hold on to it. I think we do have one other boxed Japanese Game Boy Pocket in the collection right now, but it was a pink one, which did not come out here, so that's a little bit of a special case. But either way, very, very cool. Next up, we have another Japanese console. This is the new Nintendo 2DS LL. In North America, they're called XL. In Japan, they're LL. And this is a Dragon Quest Slime 2DS LL, which is really cool. It's got the like slime on the top of the thing, and it's textured and all that. So very, very cool. The game inside is factory sealed, and the seller told Abby that it was new in box. I opened it and looked at everything. I agree. I think that this has never been used. It is in literally perfect condition. No fingerprints, no nothing. The game is sealed, and then it's got that little piece of foam that they put in between the two screens from the factory, and it looks like it has been in the same spot because the joystick pushes and it creates that little circle where the circle pad is on the foam, and it is one perfect circle. It doesn't look like the foam was moved and then closed. So, you know, it's hard to verify 100% because they don't come factory sealed, but it looks new to me. So the last two are really, really cool in my opinion. The first one is a Game Boy Advance SP. This is a limited edition gold Game Boy Advance SP, but it is also a Toys R Us exclusive bundle that comes with Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3. So it might look like a platinum or a silver one on camera, but it is gold. And then the back of the box does have some rips where the sticker seals were removed. But overall, this is really, really cool. Not only is it a limited edition color, because it's the gold one, but it's also a Toys R Us exclusive bundle that comes with a Mario game. So that is really, really awesome. Love that kind of stuff. The last one, though, this is one that we didn't set out to purchase. Somebody brought this to our booth, and they wanted to trade. And they came on the first day, on Saturday. They wanted to trade this straight across for two Sega Saturn games. Magic Knight Rayearth and Burning Rangers, which are very expensive games. And we had those two priced at, I think it was $1,650, like $1,650 for both. And he wanted to trade this straight across, and I said that I would, if he gave us this item plus I think it was 400 cash or 350 cash, then I would do it. And he declined. Well, he said, let me think about it. And then came back the next day on Sunday, and we revisited the conversation. And I think I told him I would do it because on Saturday we don't really like cut deals at the convention. We save that for Sunday. And so I told him on Sunday if he gave us this item and 250 cash, we would do it, and he agreed. So that put a valuation on this of about $1,400, which is $100 less than the cheapest one posted on eBay. So it wasn't like a steal or anything. I think it was a pretty straight across even trade, which is perfectly fine because I knew that we weren't going to be selling this. This wasn't going to be inventory for the store. This is something that we were going to keep, and this is a Pokemon Center exclusive Game Boy Micro, which is really cool. It's black and red. It's got Pikachu on there. Here's the back of the box, which is awesome. And I'm not going to open it all up. The top does have some creasing. It's not too bad. But what's really special about this is normally this is a Japanese exclusive console, but it has a US UPC sticker put on top of it. So he was not the original owner, but he has owned it for a long time. He said he bought it like back in college. And him and I are both under the same impression that this was sold at the Nintendo store in New York City. Supposed to be exclusive to Japan, but with that sticker, I mean, you can tell it's an old sticker, and who would, you know, fake that? So they must have like imported some for the Nintendo store and sold them there. So that is really, really cool. I love it. Super awesome. So that is it for all of the consoles and the controllers and the accessories and the other stuff. Everything else I have to show you is either a game box, or a manual. So, or a complete game for most of them. So, there isn't a huge variety here. It's mostly Super Nintendo, which is what I've been focusing on, as you guys know. And with everything that I have here, I'm getting really close to having the full set. At the end of the video, once I get through and show you everything, I'm going to tell you guys how many I have remaining, because it's a lot less than I expected after PRGE. This actually was about double what I expected to find at the show, and most of it came from one guy, which is pretty awesome. But before we get to the Super Nintendo stuff, I do have Switch, NES, and Game Boy stuff to show you. So I'm just going to start there. We'll end off with the Switch. So for Game Boy, there's not too much, but we have Kirby's Dream Land. I already had this box, but a complete copy came into the store, and it was not only a box upgrade, but it also had the manual and the game with it. So I essentially am replacing my box-only copy with a nicer, complete copy. So pretty awesome. And then the other one, which is a game we didn't have at all, which I was surprised, is the classic NES series Super Mario Bros. For the GBA. And looking at my list, this is a complete copy, by the way. Looking at my list of what we do have, the only one I know of off the top of my head that we're still missing for that classic NES series is Zelda 2. It looks like we have all the other ones. I haven't compared to the official list of what's out there, but from all the ones that I can remember off the top of my head, I think we're just missing Zelda 2 now, which is pretty cool. That's a cool little subset to go after. Those are all the Game Boy ones. So I'm going to go with Switch next, in no particular order. This first one I have not started yet, just so you know, so I don't have anything to say about it, but that is Super Mario Wonder. The cartridge is on my bedside table. I have not started it yet, though. I do plan on starting it this weekend. I'm filming this on Tuesday, which is basically my Saturday, so I have today and tomorrow. So I am planning on starting it this weekend. Then we also have Inescapable, No Rules, No Rescue, and Inspector Gadget, Mad Time Party. These are two new releases that just came out. We got them at the store. So, of course, whenever we order Switch games for the store, I always order one extra for myself. We also have Monster Energy Supercross 2. Nothing too special, just a game I did not have. And then Aka R. This is a limited run game, which I believe I got this from PRGE, but I think they had it listed as a convention exclusive. So it wasn't exclusive to PRGE, I think just conventions in general, because obviously limited run will sell at a bunch of conventions throughout the year. So this is one that they had listed as a convention exclusive, which is why I picked it up. And then from the premium edition booth at PRGE, we picked up Raji, an Ancient Epic Enhanced Edition, which comes in this, like, I don't even know what you want to call this. It's like a weird, like, it's not really a slipcover, but it's a box that's open on the side, and then they have like a NES-style sleeve for the actual game, which is pretty cool. And then to go along with that, we picked up the Classic Edition as well of the same game, so it looks like a Super Nintendo box. Pretty cool. That's it for Switch. On to the NES. I picked up one cartridge that I already had the box for, and that is Bigfoot. And then I have another cartridge here that we got. I can't remember if we got this from Sam's Collection or if it was from a different trade-in, but it's a copy of Toxic Crusaders. And if you guys went to PRGE, you might know that Lloyd Kaufman was there from Troma. And so I had him sign this game. So he put SicCooper, Lloyd Kaufman, and then right up here, if you can see it, Toxie also signed it, which it's just a guy in a suit. It's not the actual actor or anything, but he still signed it. And he put a little heart. But that is really cool. I am not like a huge horror movie fan, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to have Lloyd Kaufman sign the Toxic Crusaders game. If you guys don't know, he wrote the movie The Toxic Avenger, which came out in the 80s, and it is like a ridiculous, over-the-top horror movie. There's probably, I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming there's like a lot of comedy and stuff in there. And for some reason, it's a very adult movie. For some reason, they made an NES game out of it and a cartoon for kids, and they changed it from Toxic Avenger to Toxic Crusaders. Like I said, I'm not huge into horror movies, but I have been trying to get into more. and that is one that's definitely on my list. James Rolfe, AVGN, he does a lot of movie reviews. Monster Madness, he, for October every year, he reviews a bunch of horror movies. I love his reviews, and it's gotten me a little bit more excited about watching some horror movies. I just hate jump scares, so I think that some of the older ones are more appealing to me. And but yeah, Toxic Avenger is on my list to watch. Also Fright Night and Night of the Creeps, I've heard is really good. So Abby and I have watched some. We watched, it's not really a horror movie, but we watched Monster Squad, which was really awesome. I watched the original Bela Lugosi Dracula a couple months ago. So I'm trying to get more into it, and I'm enjoying what I've watched so far. There's also some older movies that that I have seen before that I want to rewatch, like House, and Creepshow is one that I watched when I was a kid, and I really liked that one. So I'll probably show that to Abby at some point. But very cool. He was super, super nice, and awesome to get that signed by him. So moving on to the rest of the NES stuff. I got a box only for Tubin, which is a Tengen game, one of the unlicensed games for the NES. I am going for all the unlicensed games as well. I have a few homebrews and newer releases in addition to that, but I'm going mostly for the regular set of official games, plus the Tengen, Color Dreams, Chimerica, stuff like that. And then, of course, the Aladdin Deck Enhancer stuff. Another one that's box only is Super Sprint, also a Tengen one. I wasn't at the store when this trade-in happened, so I don't know who it was, but somebody traded in a bunch of Tengen games for NES. Some of them were box only, some of them were complete. This other one was also part of that stack, and that is Bible Adventures, which is a Wisdom Tree game, another unlicensed one. This is now I can't remember, I think it was the blue cartridge version. There's a blue and a black one. Oh, this is the black one. So there's a blue cartridge version as well, which I'm kind of going to be looking for as well, but very cool. I also got Elevator Action. This one is complete. This one came from somebody else in addition to this one, which is also complete, and that is Wrecking Crew, which I'm very happy to get. This is a black box game, which if you guys don't know, the original NES games that they released, like for the launch, they call them black box games. They all have very similar covers where it's kind of mostly black with the artwork up here. They all look very similar, but Mario Bros, Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley, like a bunch of those games. There's like 10-Yard Fight, baseball, golf. Those are all the black box games, and some of them are really, really hard to find. And so this one is not crazy expensive. I think it's like a couple $100, but I'm very happy to knock that one off the list. The black box games as a subset, I think, is a very cool little thing to complete. And I'm not really focusing on NES, but when games come into the store, it's the same thing for Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, or NES. If any games come in with the box that I don't have, or if it's even just a box only, I do add them to my collection. So I get stuff every now and then for those, but the real focus is on Super Nintendo, which is what I have to show you now. So first, I did get one cartridge for a box I already had, and that is Young Merlin. So I don't know why I didn't do this before or think of it, but we have a wish list system at the store, and it basically allows us to put a particular item onto a customer's wish list, and when we get that item in, it prints the price tag for the item, and then the next tag is a tag with the person who had it on their wish list with their name and phone number. So we've had that for a couple years now, but I've never really used it for myself for some reason, but I did recently. So the Bigfoot NES game, the Young Merlin Super Nintendo game, those are games I put on my wish list, and I did that for basically all of the cartridge-only stuff that I needed for NES, Super, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. So all of the cartridges you've been seeing me pick up in these pickup videos for the last couple videos, those have been ones that just came into the store that were on my wish list. And if I didn't have them on my wish list, there's no way I would have grabbed them, because I don't know all the cartridges that I need. So it's very, very handy to be able to do that. And I told everyone, if you see anything come up that was on my wish list, I don't want it unless it's basically mint. So I don't have to worry about, upgrading these cartridges in the future. I'm just getting them good first time around. So that's been very helpful. I do have some new ones I have to add after PRGE, and some of them have come in, but they've had ripped labels or something like that, and unfortunately, it takes it off your wish list as soon as it gets in stock. So at some point, I'll have to redo my wish list, but it's been very, very helpful. So before we get into the rest of the games, I have a stack of manuals here. We had someone who I was talking to through eBay for a bit, and then through our emails. They have a complete in-box Super Nintendo collection, and they had hundreds and hundreds of duplicates and extra manuals and extra cartridges and extra boxes. They completed their set a long time ago. I think they said like 2012 or something like that. So they got in when it was way cheaper, and they were buying bundles of games and then taking out the few that they needed, but they didn't really seem to be selling the rest. So they have all of these extra things, and they had a ton of manuals that I needed. So they sent me this along with 2 boxes, which I didn't have. One of them I did have, but I think I didn't have it when he first sent me the list, but I think I got it. But the one he sent me was a box upgrade, so that's fine. The other one is a box and manual only for a game I did not have, so I just got to track down a cartridge. But he has more manuals, because I need more after PRGE now. So he's got a few more, so we might be doing a trade for those as well. We just traded some like store inventory for it. So in no particular order, these are manuals for boxes I already have, but did not have the manual. So that is WWF Royal Rumble, TKO Super Championship Boxing, The Terminator, Looney Tunes B-Ball, Power Rangers, the Fighting Edition, Nolan Ryan's Baseball, Super Valis 4, which this is a really nice manual. My box is horrible though, so it's a weird mismatch. Doomsday Warrior, F1 ROC Race of Champions, Genghis Khan 2 Clan of the Grey Wolf, George Foreman's KO Boxing, and I guess I did save the best 2 for last here, The Jetsons Invasion of the Planet Pirates, and a manual that I didn't know if I would ever find separately for Super Turrican 2. Manual's a little bit worn, but that is a hard to find manual. I got that box and cartridge way back in 2016. I have not found a manual in that time. So, got it from Sam originally when I bought his Super Nintendo collection. There's a video on the Double Jump channel if you want to check that out. That was insane. Probably one of the best pickups ever. But very, very happy to finally have that manual. There were 2 manuals that were missing from Sam's collection when I bought it way back in 2016, and I'm now, with that one, I've gotten both of them. It was Super Turrican 2, which is here, and then Pocky and Rocky 2, which I got years ago from Cowlitz Gamers for Kids, which is a small video game swap show that they do in Longview, Washington. So very, very happy to finally knock that one off the list as well. I still need a couple other expensive manuals, just overall. Mega Man X3 being one of them, but that one is probably a lot easier to find than Super Turrican 2, so I'm happy. So, moving on to the actual Super Nintendo stuff here. I'm going to start with the one that I got from the manual guy, because this one was part of that same bundle, and that is a box manual for Elite Soccer, which is a pretty uncommon game. We had a cartridge, and I think it sold at PRGE, because it's not in the inventory now, which sucks, because I would have just used it to complete this. The cartridge, I think, was like 20 to 25 bucks, but a complete in-box copy is about 150 to 200. So, pretty hard to find boxing manual here. Very happy to knock that off the list. And then, I believe when I brought these games out here the other day, I did kind of try to put the best ones on the far right so I can save those for last. So I'm going to try to do that, and we're going to try to save the cooler ones for towards the end. The first one, though, I got from PRGE from John Hancock. This is like a homebrew release, and that is Block'em Sock'em, which is one of his games. And looks like a fun little puzzle game. And this is the Super Nintendo version. He also had it for Genesis and Atari Jaguar. So it's not officially part of the Super Nintendo library, but once I do have the library complete, when I add homebrews and stuff like that, unlicensed games, it makes it 101% complete, which I think is kind of jokingly when I say that, but I think it's kind of cool. So, aside from those few that I'm going to try to save for last, the rest are going to be in no particular order. So, first up we have Ren and Stimpy Show Fire Dogs. And like I said, most of these I got from one guy at PRGE. 34 of them came from one person. I probably can't tell you which ones exactly, and it doesn't matter. But just know that 34 of these came from one guy, which is insane. That is more than I thought I would find at the entire show. I was thinking I might find 20, 25 total, and I got a lot more, so I'm happy. Next is Hammerlock Wrestling. And then The Wizard of Oz. On the Ball. I'm trying to hold them so that you don't get the glare. Spanky's Quest. Just got this one for Game Boy recently. And then we have Pack in Time. Pretty hard to find one. He had like 3 or 4 of these, which is absolutely crazy. We have Jam It. We have Clay Fighter 2. This one, I actually, along with another game in here, I bought factory sealed copies at PRGE because I was like, I can't find these games anywhere. And then, later, when I found the guy that had the 34 games, he had both of the sealed games I had just purchased. So, the sealed copy of Clay Fighter 2 plus the other one, I can't remember what it was, but the two sealed games are now available for purchase at my store. doublejumpvideogames.com if you happen to be interested. But I was like, I'm gonna buy them sealed now. I almost thought about just cutting them open on the side and just keeping them like that. Decided not to, luckily, because I then found them like an hour later. But the sealed ones are for sale now, and I'm keeping the complete ones instead. Moving on, we have Micro Machines. Also, Alien vs. Predator. This one, I believe, did not have a manual, so I added that to my list. This one, I've tried to buy a few times, Super Troll Islands. There's a game store up north called Gamebound, which is owned by my buddy Kai, and they have a copy of this, but I can't, there was a reason, I've seen it there like 2 or 3 times. There's a reason I didn't pick it up, and I think it was because of condition, so I was very happy to finally get one. This is a fairly uncommon game anyway. We've maybe had a loose cartridge twice at our store over the past 5 years, so it's not super rare, but it is pretty uncommon. Then we have King Arthur's World. We have the original straight up plain old Spider-Man, which is actually also pretty uncommon. You see Separation Anxiety, Arcade's Revenge, Maximum Carnage. You see those way more than just the regular Spider-Man. Next is Big Sky Trooper. This is the other game that I had purchased sealed and then replaced right after, Al Unser Jr.'s Road to the Top. Then we have Super Chase HQ. This one is probably the worst condition box out of everything that I got. I don't know how well you can see, but corners are pretty worn. There's a big crease across right here. Just the edges and corners in general are all pretty worn. The top is also a little bit sun faded, but it's not horrible, just not the best. Then we have The Great Circus Mystery, starring Mickey and Minnie. Operation Europe, Path to Victory, 1939 to 45. This game is extra heavy because the manual that's in here is like, it's like 3 or 4 regular manuals put together. It's crazy. Then we have SeaQuest DSV. Another one that's kind of like one of these sports games that is pretty uncommon, so I'm happy to knock this off the list. And this one is actually in really, really good condition. This is one of the best ones. Natsume Championship Wrestling. I believe I actually got this box and cartridge from a different vendor, and then the guy that had the 34 games had a complete one, and I convinced him to sell me just the manual out of it. So this is a complete copy now, and that one is in beautiful condition. Then we have Zardion. This is the only game that I had made a deal for before the expo started. This came from my buddy Josh, who owns a store up past Seattle called Stupid Geeks Inc. He does about half trading cards, half video games, and he got a collection of boxed Super Nintendo games traded in right before the expo. And I was like, hey, I need that Zardion one. And he's like, cool, I'll hold it for you, bring it to PRGE. So thank you to Josh for that. I also picked up Clay Fighter Tournament Edition So now I have all 3 of the different Clay Fighter games for the Super Nintendo, and of course both of the ones for 64 as well. Another one here that's really uncommon for some reason is Chester Cheetah Too Cool to Fool. And would you believe there's another Chester Cheetah game on Super Nintendo? Chester Cheetah, as in the Cheetos mascot, yes. For some reason, he has 2 games on Super Nintendo. They're both pretty hard to find. This is the only one I have so far. The other one I've never seen. Next up is Mooey Mallard in Cold Shadow, which looks awesome. This is one that I definitely want to play. Next, this one has no cartridge. I believe it also had no manual, but it does have either the poster or the registration card or something like that. So that's best case scenario if you're going to get it not complete, because that kind of stuff is always harder to find than the actual manual itself. But that is for Booger Man. We also have Relief Pitcher, which is probably the cheapest game that was still on my list. For some reason, I just never see this game. And then we have Skulljagger. Then we have Super Godzilla, which is awesome. We also have Spawn the video game. This one I believe was box only. There's definitely no cartridge, and I'm pretty sure that it had no manual, and that was the manual that the guy had, the manual guy. That was the only new manual that he had from my list, I believe, but he does have some other boxes I need, so see those hopefully soon. Next one is Wolfenstein 3D. This one might also need a manual, I can't remember. But with those out of the way, there were some pretty good ones in there, but what I have remaining here are the more expensive titles, and there's some pretty cool stuff in here. So we're going to start with the Itchy and Scratchy game, which obviously based from the Simpsons cartoon within a cartoon. This game is pretty hard to find, even a loose copy, and very happy to get that. It's in pretty good shape as well. I don't really know the exact value of some of these, but I can tell you, including Itchy and Scratchy, and all of these other ones that are remaining here, these all came from that one guy that had the 34 games. So I picked up a few other random ones here and there, but all the rare stuff came from that one guy. So this is one that I think is probably the cheapest out of the remaining here, but this is one that was really high on my list in terms of like, I want to get this now. Obviously, I'm getting any game I don't have because I'm going for the full set, but this is one game in particular that I've only ever seen loose even one time, which was while Abby and I were in Florida. I bought the cartridge and we sold it at the store. It sold immediately. So I was really happy to get this one complete, because this game, it might not be the most expensive, but this game is freaking rare. And I say that with confidence because I have owned my game store for over 5 years now. I've been buying and selling video games since 2007, 2008, and I've been to hundreds of game stores all over the country, even a couple in Canada, and I've only ever seen this game one time, and that is Power Pigs of the Dark Age. Really, really happy to get this one. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool as well, but this game is stupid rare. I feel like it should be worth a lot more than it is, just based on how few copies I've seen. And obviously, since 2007, I haven't been looking for it, so maybe I ran across one and just didn't know what it was. But since I've been looking, I've only ever seen that one loose cartridge that we bought in Florida and then drove back to Washington. So very, very happy to knock that one off the list. I thought that this was going to be one that was going to be like in the last 5 that I needed. So very, very cool. Not to kind of spoil what I still have to show here, but just since I kind of mentioned I thought that this would be one of the last 5 I needed, I do think that there's a couple that are going to be on that last 5 list. One of them, I think, is going to be Three Ninjas Kickback. One of them, I think, is going to be Packy and Marlin. And the other one, I think, is going to be Rex Ronin. Those games are so hard to find. The Exertainment Mountain Bike Racer, Mountain Bike Rally and Speed Racer combo, that's probably going to be on there as well. But Yeah, I think Aero Fighters is going to be easier to get than some of these other ones. Maybe Aero Fighters will be more expensive, but I feel like I've seen multiple copies of Aero Fighters over the years. But Complete in Box Rex Ronan, I've never seen. Complete in Box Packy and Marlin, I've never seen. So it's going to be crazy. But the last 4 that I have to show you here are also really, really awesome. And I don't know which one is more expensive than the other, so I'm just going to go in random order here for the last 4. We have Mr. Nuts. This one I purchased box only from this guy, but I had something here at home that I knew was going to be hard to find, so I held on to it, and that was the instruction manual, which I got for $45 from Retro Game Trader, which is a local store to me. And I knew at the time when I bought that manual, I was like, man, this game is really hard to find, and 45 bucks for a really rare manual seems like a pretty good price, and I'm really glad that I grabbed it, because if I didn't have that manual, I would not have purchased this box. So, really glad that I had it. I still got to track down a cartridge, but that is way easier than the boxer manual, so I'm happy. Next one, The Twisted Tales of Spike McFang, which looks awesome. And very, very hard to find game. Very happy with this. It is a complete copy, which is awesome. All the games that I still haven't shown are complete. So, very, very happy with that. Also, very uncommon. We've had the cartridge a few times for that one, but not very often. Then we have SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron. Really, really awesome. Another, obviously, very, very hard to find game. This one does have some creasing on the box and everything, so, you know, none of these are, like, perfect, but pretty good condition overall. Very, very happy. And the last one is one of the best condition, aside from that Natsume Championship Wrestling, this is probably the best condition one out of all of them. And the Clay Fighter 2 that was in here had the plastic on the box, but the box was kind of crushed on one of the sides. So I took the plastic off and transferred it to this box because this one was in such nice condition. And it's a hard to find game, so I think it's better to have the plastic on this to protect the corners and the edges than have it on a crushed box of Clay Fighter 2, which sealed is not even that much. So this one does have a plastic transfer, but I'm not selling it, so it doesn't matter. This is just for me. This is a complete mint copy with the plastic on the box of Joe and Mac 2 Lost in the Tropics. Beautiful, beautiful copy. Like I said, obviously putting the plastic on there makes it look even better, but before the plastic was on here, it was mint condition. So this is a very good candidate for a plastic transfer, which is my patent pending technique of taking the original seal off of one game and putting it onto another. I didn't open the game. It was cut open already on the side, so I just take the plastic off, put it on a different game. But that is awesome. Super, super happy to get that. Yeah, and he had 2 copies, which is crazy. He had duplicates of a lot of this stuff. Like the Spanky's Quest, I think I was choosing between 3 different copies to pick the best one. It was crazy. So we have a keyword for these videos. So if you watched all the way through, if you put this word in your comment, that'll tell me that you watched the entire video and you didn't skip ahead. And we are going to go, usually pick something that I can see. We're going to go with relief, the word relief from Relief Pitcher. So put the word relief in your comment, and that will tell me that you guys watched the whole thing and you are a true peep. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and checking out my new additions to the collection from the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. If you haven't seen our PRGE videos on the Double Jump channel, please check them out. I'm super happy with how they came out. Jesse did a fantastic job of editing, and then him and his girlfriend Sarah did an awesome job of filming. So shout out to them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.